Hi, welcome back to the garden. Not a whole lot has changed this week. Most of my week has actually been spent clearing out the little brush around that big tree in front. Clearly I have a lot left to do, but it's a whole lot better than it was. Anyways, let's get into the garden. So if we start over here, this first container is the potatoes that I planted way back in the spring and have moved a few times. One of the potato plants is turning yellow, but the rest are still green. If we come over here, this is the sweet potato slip that we've been trying to grow. Clearly this slip is a whole lot bigger than your average slip, but we're kind of doing that as an experiment to learn how to do this. These next set of buckets, okay, they're bags, not buckets, sorry. These are all full of strike bush beans, and I'm mostly doing the beans here kind of as a cover crop and to reset the nitrogen levels. Continuing over. Actually, I don't think I've shown these on video before. This is our watering system. These are two 5-gallon buckets and a tabo, which is a Filipino thing. Our water has huge amounts of chlorine in it, which is bad for plants. So what we do is we fill these two 5-gallon buckets and water out of them. That gives the water like generally 12 hours or so for the chlorine to evaporate. Chlorine evaporates pretty quick relative to water, and we end up with our water there. And since we use it daily to water the garden, we don't have to worry about mosquitoes. So over here, all these little green things are bok choy. Some of these were transplants, some of these were direct sown in here. This is native soil in our kind of soil grass clipping lasagna, with some old potting soil on top. And I'm guessing my wife's planning to plant more in that other potting soil she stuck there. If I go over here, our calamansi is looking about the same. It's got one bad leaf that's dying off, as you can see on this side, but otherwise it's just kind of continuing to be itself. Get rid of some weeds. Actually, don't know what that is, so let it get bigger. Our jackfruit I'm a little worried about. The big one has got these little white things growing on the leaves, or looks almost like mildew or mold. I'm probably going to try watering that less and see how it goes. But I'm a little concerned about the health of that tree. Over here, this giant forest is our Swiss chard. These were planted from seed way back in the spring, and we've just been cutting off the tops as we needed the leaves. You can see there's a couple that were cut, but they just keep regrowing. They got a fish emulsion fertilizer probably 3 weeks ago now, and have been very happy with it. If we go over to the seed starts, I'm pretty sure there's no peppers in there and it's entirely weeds. But just out of optimism, I'm going to transplant all of those into the ground at some point. My wife's seed starts. Looks like we've got one little pepper coming up. Maybe a couple peppers coming up. She way overseeded these. The cilantro has been, the first row here is cilantro, top and bottom. Nothing there. The carrots, once again, overseeded, but boy are those coming up like crazy. So those got to get moved into a raised bed or something. And then the lettuce is kind of nothing. So it's a learning opportunity here for the entire garden. Over here, in this bed, I've got my peppers transplanted. That's a habanero. Another habanero. I may have transplanted these when they were a little small. I think that's the end of my habaneros. I'm basically going to figure out what's in this bed when they start producing peppers, if they start producing peppers. It's going to be jalapenos, serranos, and habaneros in here. And we'll just see what we get. This is kind of an entirely experimental garden this spring, or fall. And we'll look over here. These are my new chard that I planted after I moved. And you can see they're starting to get their first real leaves, like this leaf in there. when they're really young, they put off these, they kind of just grow along the ground. There's an example of one of their young leaves. But as they get more mature, we start getting real leaves. And the nice thing about these is you can pick them and you get greens all year, really, until they die. Yeah, this one's actually starting to look good. Passing the peppers. Let's go take a look at some tomatoes. Now the tomatoes, once again, it's an experiment. Some will die. The weak will die, the strong will succeed and eat the compost of the weak. I didn't have enough tomato cages, so that tomato there actually doesn't have a cage. But these guys are looking healthy. That one's looking tiny. So is that one. If those die off, I'll have cages. But like you can see, that one's doing okay. That one's also doing okay. The tomatoes at some point are going to need support, and I have a feeling that point is coming really soon because it is incredibly windy out here. Not sure if you can see that. One of my pistol airsoft targets has fallen over. So that'll kind of tell you it's windy out. But that's it for now. Hopefully I have... Well, let's see how it goes. Thanks for watching.